Hi, everyone. Good afternoon. Thank you so much for being here with us today. We are, as you know, here for consumer technology and recruiting, how to use tech that is not HR tech, which is a really interesting subject. We have Craig here today with us. Hi, Craig.
Hello,
How are you
greetings.
today?
I'm good. Hope everyone is having a great day.
Well, I hope so too. Let's assume everyone is having an amazing day and they're going to be sending us tons and tons of questions for you.
All you want. Throw them down.
Well, while everyone is logging in, we'll just go over a few items for housekeeping so we can explain how the panel works. Craig, do you mind switching to the next slide? So you are in listen only mode. We can hear you can hear us, I'm sorry, but we cannot hear you. But don't be shy, use the questions panel on your sidebar to talk to Craig. If you have any questions, please shoot them over there and I will relay. Also, we're live, so please use the #daily hashtag to share all over social media. Just because we're started does not mean people can't join. And we are recording. You'll receive a copy of the slide deck and the recording after the webinar, so please keep your eye on your inbox. Do you mind going to the next slide, Craig? Thanks. I think we're frozen. There we are, there we are. And we already said hi to Craig. Hi again, Craig. Craig is the head of recruiting innovation at Allegis Global Solutions. He has got a list of, your resume is longer than the book that I finished last night. So it's very impressive and we are so happy to have you with us today. Thank you so much. He leads marketing and employer brand at Allegis Global Solutions. Do you want to introduce yourself? I posted your whole bio here so people can refer back and just take a look at you.
Yeah, nobody needs to hear my whole bio. That's boring. But
Well,
yeah,
it was just so beautiful. I had to put it in there.
I've been doing recruiting stuff since about 1995, and before that, I did sales in hospital and pharmaceuticals, and the whole time I did any of that stuff, I was always thinking of outside the box ways that I could increase my capacity, be more efficient, spend more time on the lake or at the gym or with my family and still beat my competitors in selling or recruiting. And so all of the things that I'll show you are things that I still use today in either helping companies find great candidates or helping them market their employer brand or marketing my conference. I run the TalentNet conference in Texas. It's the largest recruiting conference in the Southwest, and other things. I do consulting work, and so I'm constantly in sales or recruiting mode myself for bigger audiences, more targeted audiences, and ways to communicate with them, build lists, build funnels. And so I'm going to show you all kinds of fun stuff today on how I do that.
Well, I am personally very excited. I'm going to be taking notes myself. So I think we'll just hand this over to you and let you take over. I'll relay any questions that the audience has for you. So again, please send your questions over. And again, you will receive a copy of the entire recording and the slide deck after the webinar. Okay,
All right.
I'm muting. It's all yours.
Thanks, Ashley. Appreciate it. Hi,
Thanks,
everybody.
Craig.
Yeah. Hope your day is going great. Welcome to the Recruiting Daily webinar. I do these on a not super regular basis, but every year or two I do one or two of these, and they're always fun. I like the recording. I listen to the playbacks myself to judge myself on how clearly I'm communicating this stuff. I've been up for a long time today. I had a big meeting at Toyota's headquarters this morning that I just got back from. And so if I'm a little scratchy or a little blurry, absolutely send a comment and Ashley will relay it if I need to go over something more clearly. And this is not uncommon with me. I don't sleep much on a regular basis. So this is going to be fun. All right, so my theme, if you've ever heard me say or do anything, has always been to be human, right? We want to humanize the things we do, even though we're going to automate a lot of the stuff that makes us successful. We want to try to keep the human element in that. And so a big part of that is just good communication. And so we're going to learn some communication tools that will help us more effectively brand ourselves, brand our organizations, and brand our jobs, and attract more people to us. Among other things, there's a lot of cool tools here. So strap in and take some notes. Okay, this is sort of the HR technology landscape. This is kind of a snapshot of all the recruiting and HR technology, including startups from Talent Tech Labs. And Allegis Global Solutions, the company that I work for, is a big RPO company, and it's part of Allegis Group, which is one of the largest staffing organizations in the world. Allegis Group owns Tech Systems and Aerotech and Allegis Global Solutions, among other things. And we are one of the two major sponsors and backers of Talent Tech Labs. So I do a lot of work with them. I love these beautiful charts that they give us to show us the landscape and the universe of all the HR tech. You can zoom in on this stuff and see things that you would generally recognize and use. Some of you are probably vendors for some of these companies that are listening to the call right now. These are wonderfully good, and you can find them at talenttechlabs.com. You can find all this stuff there. But if you think about all the stuff we have available to us in HR technology, which we think is a lot, if you just go to consumer technology, this is just content marketing apps, okay? So this is consumer technology for content marketing apps. So if you feel like you're overrun with advertisements and vendors in the HR tech space, just be glad you're not in the consumer tech space or the B2B tech space, because all this stuff you see here is used for that. And I use a lot of this stuff, and you probably use some of it as well. So there's a wild universe available to us that can augment the tools we use for HR and recruiting tech. So today we're going to do a couple of things. First, we're going to start with a little exercise that I do when I'm trying to do some content marketing to drive interest in a certain type of job. So one of the things that I recently had to help a company recruit for was a web app developer. So if you know what a web app is, that's something that sits natively in the cloud on a website, but it acts like a mobile app. And when you click to it, it generates completely as an HTML site, basically on a web page, but it looks and acts and responds like a mobile app. So I wanted to find an author who had written an interesting article about this tech, and then I wanted to get in touch with this author, and I wanted it to be someone who was a techie themselves, right? So they had some credibility on Stack Overflow and places like that. I wanted to find the author, locate him, get in touch with him, ask him to help me write an article or do a webinar or a podcast or something like that. I found a guy, wrote the article, very interesting, posted it to very specific segments of people that I wanted to attract to a certain job for an employer that I was doing some work for. And then I advertised the content. I got the author to advertise it on his Stack Overflow page and GitHub page. And there are some pretty sneaky ways to do that. If you want to learn more about that, I can show you. You can pay directly on Stack Overflow, but GitHub's got a little bit of a different route that you need to do it. But then I built a list of the people who engaged with the content, and I recruited the list. So I'll show you a little bit about how I went about this. So first, I wanted to find the author. So I just did a real simple search to find a progressive web app designer, okay? And I used the word subscribe in my Google search to find this person because if you have subscribe in your search, then you're gonna come up with blog sites, and that's what I wanted, article and blog sites. And so I found this article right here and a few others that I thought were pretty interesting, and clicked through to find this article and the authors, and I found this guy right here, and I used Google image search. So I right-clicked on him and used Google image search to try to find more about him, and here we go. We found Stanislaw Swatkowitz and several different places where he's written interesting things. Okay, I still didn't have any contact information for him at this point, but I did find his Medium page, and he's got all of these followers on his Medium page. So I took note of all 214 followers and built a list out of them, which was fun. So that got my list started of people who are interested in this guy's content so that I could advertise the content to them specifically. And then I found his GitHub page, which is fairly simple. And I actually used Nymeria, which is kind of recruiting tech, but it's really one that a lot of marketers use to find contact information. So Nymeria on GitHub is really good at finding contact information. So this is how I contacted the fellow in the first place. And then I did another thing. I used his email address in a place called Rules Utilities to find gravatars from an email address. So if you know anything about building websites or being an author or a commenter on websites, to have a gravatar, you have to have an email address, and it's all attached to your email address. And you can have several, but a lot of people are a little anonymous with their gravatars. They might have several different personas, and so I wanted to find more gravatars where this guy might have commented or been an author. So I used the Rules Utilities Gravatar Icon tool to find other gravatars for him, and found some more ways to kind of get in his peripheral vision, which was fun. He thought that was very interesting. Then I needed to build a landing page to send people to sign up for this content. Okay, now in recruiting, we can use tools like Clinch or whatever CRM you want. But in consumer tech, you just use tools like ClickFunnels or a million other different types of tools that you could use to just build any landing page. So the goal here is you want to advertise your content, whether it's a podcast or a webinar or an article, to a specific group and say, hey, sign up. We'll let you know when this is available, or when you can listen or view. And you might have a gated content situation, or you might not, but you can still collect data even on just a blog article with a simple pop-up that says, hey, get more updates, put your email address here, no problem. But I like Clinch a lot if you're going to use recruiting tech, but there's plenty of other things you can use. In fact, of all the CRMs that we have in our space, there are a million others in consumer and B2B tech. So these are all CRMs that you could use if you don't have a recruiting budget for technology. There's a million things, right? Microsoft Dynamics CRM is actually not that bad. You could create a complete ATS system with just that, I'm convinced, and I think they are doing that currently with their LinkedIn integration. But these are the tools that we commonly use in the recruiting space. But since this is non-recruiting tech, I'm going to show you one of my favorite CRMs, which is Eventbrite, right? So you're going to have an event. You're going to host a podcast or a webinar with an author in the space of some technology, and you want to get people to sign up for it. So you can use for free Eventbrite and create free tickets for people to sign up. And then for everyone that signs up, you can then use this tool to send up to 100 emails a day for free to that list. And the great thing about Eventbrite is the emails don't bounce, okay? So if you send them straight through Eventbrite, they don't bounce. You can also integrate Eventbrite with MailChimp. Also, Eventbrite is highly search optimized. So if in your title you put Progressive Web App Designer Stanislav Swatkowitz webinar, right? Then and jobs or something like that for web designers. In your title, all those words are going to come up high in a Google search result when put together, or pieces of them are put together, and especially if you list a location. So let's say I'm trying to recruit people for jobs in Plano, Texas. I would just write Plano, Texas jobs at the end of my title for no reason other than it's going to be good for SEO. And believe me, Eventbrite is amazing for SEO. And again, 100% free tool if you don't charge any money for the tickets. You can also advertise jobs this way. So say you've got a specific job that you want to recruit people for in like a weird part of the world, and it's hard to find people there. So you can literally put Progressive Web App Designer Jobs, Plano, Texas, and as a title, and create tickets for people to sign up for interview slots, okay? And these are free tickets. This is an old trick that my buddy Bill Borman likes to do, and it works really, really well. So it's your recruiting coordinator and your CRM all in one, because you can just list the tickets as 30-minute increments, okay? And then what'll happen is you'll notice within about a week, if you type in the words for that job, it will come up on Google's front page from your Eventbrite event. And if you list the location, right? So Progressive Web App Designer Jobs, Plano, Texas, which is what a progressive web app designer might use to search for a job in Plano, Texas, Eventbrite will come up on page one. It's amazing. All right. Then you want to advertise your content, right? You want to drive people to your landing page, which could be Eventbrite, could be Clinch, could be, ClickFunnels, whatever. And you can source in tools like Profit, right? So this is a free tool from Hiring Solved. You can source for a lookalike audience, which is really
Hey,
cool.
Craig,
Yes.
you did say I could interrupt you. Are you
Yes,
ready for a
please.
question?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, this is Eventbrite related. What types of roles have you found success with using this platform? Creative versus finance versus accounting, entry level versus mid-level, etc.
Yeah, so all of the positions that I've recruited for, 99% of the positions that I've recruited for on Eventbrite have been for tech jobs, okay? Because the words are very sort of specific, and so Google picks up on those specific words if they're listed near a location, right? So you have to have the descriptive words near a specific place, and that's what Google likes for search engine optimization. So tech jobs are good because the words are specific and not general, but they're also going to be good if, let's say, you need to hire shift work for clean factory jobs in Cary, North Carolina, right? Something else that has very specific words. So I actually helped Baxter find people for these plant jobs in, just a remote part of North Carolina that they were really having trouble with, and they needed to hire a lot of people. So, Google actually picked up on that, but we also use a whole lot of tools to drive people to that landing page. So retargeting, ad marketing, and for those jobs, we actually even did radio ads and gas station pump ads, billboards, Christian radio ads. It was, very, very intricate. Red Branch Media helped me with that, by the way. There you go, Red Branch. There's your shout out. We had a lot of fun. All right, so you can use Profit to build your lookalike audience, or you can do the same thing in Facebook or in LinkedIn. You can use Next or Text Recruit to build ads that are all text-based, right? So they go straight to your SMS, and that's also really technically recruiting technology, but Facebook isn't really necessarily recruiting technology. And so it actually builds the best lookalike audiences that you can find if you have a list. Now, If you have a list, it better be a very good list, because when you build a lookalike audience, you want to make sure that it's very, very, very targeted, because otherwise it's going to be expensive to get your pay-per-clicks through those types of ads, unless your list is either very large or it's very, very good. So you don't want expensive ads if you can help it, because Facebook advertising can be very cheap if you do it right. So then you want to recruit the email list, okay? And with recruiting tools, there are a million ways you can do it. Or you can use non-recruiting tools to do it. And I've got lists and lists and lists of those, but I like recruiting tools in this situation, because you can actually put those lists into a whole bunch of chat bots now that will automatically start conversations with all the people on your list and say, hey, are you interested in XYZ job? So for my money, consumer tools don't do nearly as good of a job for this as the actual recruiting tools. Okay, now you want to try to understand who your candidates are. Once you start getting some responses, or once you've identified what the job is and the place you need to recruit these people from, you want to kind of understand more about them so you can build those targeted ads in places like Facebook. And so you want to understand their behaviors and what makes them tick. And so you can use things like empathy maps, which I talk about a lot, to kind of design your candidate. So you want a 27-year-old Latina tech grad from this part of the country. And if you make some assumptions with your team, in this situation, I get my team to put sticky notes all over the quadrants of this empathy map and say, all right, when they get up in the morning, what do they see? Do they look at their phone? What apps do they use? Are they looking at Facebook? Are they looking at Messenger? Are they looking at text? Do they listen to the radio? Do they commute? Are they on a train? Are they in a car? Would they drive by a billboard? What radio stations would they listen to? What are the things that they would see, do, feel, hear in their daily life? Do they live at home still? Do they have kids? Do they coach soccer? Do they play soccer? Do they need to be close to their family? Make the proper assumptions, right? Build the persona of your person, and then you can go into places like Facebook and LinkedIn and say, I want people who are interested in this, 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 and this. Find the pages even that you might want to recruit them from, and target ads to these people. So if you say these are their concerns, they really want to, a 27-year-old person is going to want to grow their skills. And so if your company is recruiting for their kind of job, and maybe you don't pay the most, but you do have a really good training and upskilling program, you want to really emphasize that in the ads that you're targeting. Grow your skills with us. Okay, so that's the type of thing you want to assume. And you can make some of these assumptions based on a lot of the recruiting trends reports that come out from places like CareerBuilder and LinkedIn and Glassdoor, and understand candidate behaviors for different generations of workers. And then you can start to create a candidate journey map. So you want to interview people who have been recently hired to your organization and say, all right, what was the experience like? Did you understand the specific department you were going to when you saw the job advertisement, when you got the response back from submitting your resume, when you were first contacted by the recruiter? Does the job you're doing measure up to the job that you were promised? And right, so if not, where are the gaps? How good was the communication after your first interview was set, after your first interview was complete? Did you wait 2 or 3 days before anyone got back to you? And you find that there are trends. Generally, a candidate's lowest point is at the points of poor communication, especially after a first manager interview, a resume submittal, things like that. And their highest points are when that manager interview is set and they're about to do it. And so those are the times you need to communicate better. And this is just another good way to understand who your candidates are and what they're going through, so that you can target advertisements and communications, and even some of that automated communication that we can do now with chatbots can be done to fill in some of the gaps in your candidate's journey. Okay, so a quick note about diverse and inclusive workplaces. This is not really a tool. It's not really tech, consumer, B2B, or recruiting or otherwise, but it is very informative and inspirational. So companies that have diverse and inclusive workplaces are 2 times more likely to hit their financial goals, 6 times more innovative, and 30% more revenue per employee is produced in diverse and inclusive workplaces. So the way to include a more diverse and inclusive workplace is to use better words in your job descriptions. So this is a nice tip for you. Words like committed and dependable are better at attracting diverse and especially female candidates than words like dominate, challenging, and brilliant. Use diversity imagery in your employer branding. 51% of candidates say that they're more attracted to jobs that have postings with images or videos. And when I've done employer branding for big corporations around the world, I hear from their, LATAM, EMEA, or, APAC areas that we're not seeing enough diverse faces in the website or in the career site or in the advertising. And that's hurting us here. And so it does make sense, especially if you're a global country, but it also makes sense if you're just recruiting in the United States. Now, there's another factor called 2 in the pool. And if you have 2, let's say, female candidates in your talent pool for a specific job, you are something like 100 times more likely to hire a female than if you only have 1. It's an insane number, and so try to have 2 in the pool if you're trying to shoot for diversity. And then word of mouth marketing is the best way to do that. If you truly are striving to be diverse, make sure that you disseminate that information through your employees and that that's your goal so that they can talk about it as well, because even on their way out the door, if they're going to Glassdoor, they at least might not say this place is not diverse. They don't strive for that. You want to make sure that your messaging is good. All right, video. A lot of tools here for you for video. Video is the #1 way to attract candidates with job advertisements and other types of ads, and to encourage people to understand your culture and your employer brand better. And so a few things. So LinkedIn figured out immediately upon releasing the ability to upload video directly to LinkedIn in 2017 that it creates 20 times more shares on LinkedIn than any other content. Okay, so LinkedIn's all over it, and you should be too. 54% of executives say that they share work-related videos with colleagues weekly. All right, do you think they're getting those videos from YouTube and Facebook? Probably not. They're probably getting them from LinkedIn. 80% of video content is viewed with the sound off, okay? And 57% is viewed on mobile. So you need to make sure your videos are both mobile optimized, and if you're gonna really be good at it, should have captions. This is a video I did promoting TalentNet. This was in the first just few hours of posting the video. We did a really good long description with lots of keywords so that LinkedIn and Google search engines would find it. Uploaded the video directly to LinkedIn, and within just a couple of hours, we had 116 likes, 72 comments, and almost 10,000 views. That's free, right? And so that's really smart marketing if you want free. Now, you look at all the tags that I put in there. I tagged a bunch of my friends when I posted the video. And so a lot of people liked it right off the bat, and that gets LinkedIn's engine rolling to get you top of mind and top of the list in the newsfeed. Okay, I also use some intelligent tools when posting videos to YouTube, like TubeBuddy. This is a really good one. So you post your video to TubeBuddy, and it tells you the tags you should have for the video. It also gives you all these best practices, where to put your info card in the video. It gives you options for a better high resolution thumbnail. It suggests share on Twitter and get a like on Facebook, and lots of other things. And it will also give you really cool intel about your competitors' videos. So you just go to your competitor's video and TubeBuddy will show you all of the tags that they use to promote their videos, which is really cool. There is a tool called BombBomb, and if you haven't seen this yet, it is really fun. So what it does is it gives you a platform to upload your video, and then it creates a short GIF of your video that you can then email or send in LinkedIn or Messenger to your contact. And the video looks like, the GIF looks like you talking to them in a video with the big play button on it. And then when you push that, it takes you out to the BombBomb site and your video plays, but it's really just a pop-up. And so they feel like it actually came through the messenger device that you sent it on. And also you get amazing statistics on the BombBomb side. This is a subscription tool. You get a few for free, so you can try it out, but it's very, very effective for candidate communication. Okay, so we talked about adding captions. My favorite tool for that is Camtasia. YouTube will also do this for you for free, but Camtasia, you can kind of customize it a little better. Camtasia is a one-time $99 fee, and it's the easiest and simplest point-and-click, drag-and-drop video production app that I've ever used. And I use all the types of video production apps. I'm an Adobe fiend and all that, but Camtasia is quick and dirty, nice and easy, and very good quality stuff. Powtoon is another drag and drop video creation app that has a lot of embedded B-roll footage and animation that's really fun. Camtasia does as well, but Powtoon's just another option. And they have monthly subscriptions that you can use to create really cool videos there. All right, more tools. Get your pencils out. This is going to be fast and furious. Okay, so Dig. Dig is one of my favorite Chrome extensions. Diggy.app, I believe, is how you find it on the Chrome store, D-I-G-G-Y. All right, so you go to a Facebook event or a LinkedIn group, and you just tell Dig to find all the people that are going to that event on Facebook, or group members. If you are a member, it will send you all this data, okay? And then you can build your own lists from this. Very interesting stuff. Now, you might have to source contact information, no problem. Or you can go to a LinkedIn group, and if you're a member of that, which I am a member of the SHRM LinkedIn group, you can just say, show me the group members, and it will pop up a window with all the group members where you can just message them one after another, message, message, message. Now, if you have an upgraded LinkedIn profile, then you can send a lot of messages, or you can take this information and put it into another app and message a lot of people that way. I'll show you some of those in a sec. All right. Otter. This is my favorite new AI transcription app. So this is one of those speech-to-text apps that I use for doing either manager intakes for hiring managers, okay, or when I'm interviewing a lot of recently hired people about their candidate experience. I use the Otter app for all the one-on-one and group interviews that I do. And also, if I'm talking to people about what they like about their current organization, so if I'm building an employer value proposition or employee value proposition, and I do a bunch of one-on-one interviews, we take all of the notes transcribed from Otter, and so you have the recorded playback, and the notes. And Otter is smart and can tell the difference between two different voices or several different voices, and it will break up the conversation into different paragraphs, okay? So that you understand there's one voice here and there's another voice here. So, right, it shows literally each speaker, speaker one, speaker two, and it understands who these people are. It saves all your all your conversations, and you can rename them to whatever you want. And then it gives you, after each conversation that you have, a summary of the keywords, and then you can even click a button up here to create a word cloud. So I create all these beautiful visualizations for the employers that I'm doing work with of the conversations that I had, and it's the easiest way to summarize a group of interviews or conversations. You could easily do this with job candidates as well. You need to get their permission, of course, but you know, if they're going to do a video interview, they've already given their permission, that sort of thing. This is a great app, tons of cool data and applications for it. Okay, Banana Tag. This is a way to build fancy emails in Outlook or Gmail. And it's just drag and drop. You can place different elements in there, video, whatever, make easy newsletters for your candidates, that sort of thing, without the need for a CRM at all. Banana Tag, simple, easy, fun. Okay, MailChimp. You might know MailChimp as the email marketing app, right? So you build a list. You've sourced people who came and watched your webinar with Stanislav Stankiewicz, and you want to recruit those people. Well, you have their email addresses because they went to your landing page and signed up for the webinar. Great. What do you do with those emails? Put them in MailChimp, and MailChimp can send an email campaign out, or you can just use Banana Tag, right? But MailChimp will also do another thing. It will create Facebook, Instagram, and Google remarketing ads to all of your audiences that you make with your lists, which is pretty cool. If you've ever tried to navigate Facebook's ad manager or business manager to create Facebook ads, it can be fairly daunting and complicated. And it will return to you a message quite often that says your audience isn't big enough, or you know, you haven't done something else right, or we recommend this or that, or spend more money. With MailChimp, you're always doing a targeted audience ad because it's using your own data, right? Your own list. It will also build a mirror list from those targeted emails that you have. So other people that are like those people. And it's the most seamless, easiest way to do Facebook and Instagram and Google ads that I've ever found. So MailChimp, and up to I don't know, like 5,000 audience members, the service is free. You're going to pay for your ad, but that's also cheap if you do it well. And this is a remarkable tool for many, many different reasons. Complete consumer tech or B2B tech, but it's one of my favorite recruiting technologies. Okay, levels. This is absolutely HR and recruiting technology, but it's like Glassdoor for salaries. Okay, so lots of people go and report salary levels in this app by TripleByte, and man, is it good. And from what I've found, it's fairly accurate. It's pretty cool. So if you want to understand what your competition is doing, who they're hiring, that sort of thing, and what they're paying, is a really good way to do it, and find out market information. And this is free up to a certain point. Okay, Evo IG is a way to evaluate yours and or your competitors' Instagram profiles. So what are they doing well? Who are their audiences? That sort of thing. And this is just an example, but it's a funny one. So @dogs has 758,000 followers, as you would expect. I mean, come on, it's dogs. But then it gives you some more specific data, you know, followers, following, uploads, things like that, by day. And so if you've got a really active account of a competitor that you're trying to keep up with or understand what they're doing, this is a really good way to do it. It's very cool. All right, so that is it for the tools for right now. There's my dog. Look at my dog. That's Daisy. She's awful cute. But now's a great time for Q&A if you have more questions.
Daisy is adorable.
Thank you.
Just so you know. That's a beautiful picture. So we do have a couple of questions. One of them is about MailChimp. David asks, is it free or paid? I know there are different pricing plans, so
Yep.
we're curious what you use, what
Right.
you find the most useful.
So here's the thing, you can manage multiple different accounts out of MailChimp if you want, but it takes all of the contacts you have and counts them in your audience count, even if you're using different audiences for different accounts, right? So you want to send certain emails to brand A and different emails to brand B, different audiences, but it's still, if you've got one account going, then it takes all those in your account. So once you get to, I think it's 5,000 contacts in your audience, then you have to switch to a paid plan. Until that point, it's free. So one thing you can do is just open multiple MailChimp accounts and put your target audiences and keep them under 5K or whatever the cutoff is. And you just need a bunch of email addresses in order to open those accounts. So that's one way to do it. I personally pay 99 bucks a month, but I'm using this also to keep all of the subscribers to my TalentNet list and audience there, and to do drip marketing and keep up with them and send newsletters and things like that. So for the conference, I spend money on that, but you don't have to. I've actually done it for employers, and you don't want to do this with applicants, right? Because once they're applicants, you need to have some HR governance around that. But if it's just a list of prospects, then absolutely. And MailChimp is also really good about having people opt in. So you're not really breaking any rules. Once they get an initial communication, you can just send an opt-in communication and say, hey, you showed some interest by coming to our website, and we want to see if you want any more emails. They can immediately opt out. Most people don't if you do it well. So I use the paid version, but I have used the free version for lots of employers.
Thank you so much, Craig. I just want to remind everyone that we will be sending you a copy of the slide deck and the video after the webinar. So check those inboxes. I've gotten a few questions, and that is a very, very important part of this. So I want you to know that's happening. And you can also go to recruitingwebinars.com and find the recording of this as well. So we do have one more question that I wanted to save until the end about slide 29.
Okay. Let's get back there.
Okay, cool. I believe it was slide 29. Lee, if it's not, if you don't mind popping that into chat, that would be great. And if anyone has any other questions, we do have a few minutes, so send away. Would any of this be considered age discrimination? And this may be referring to an example given or something like that, but I wanted that to be brought up just in case anyone else had that thought.
Yeah, so it could be, I mean, absolutely, but legally, no, absolutely not. This is a tool that marketers use to identify customers and prospects. Okay, so if you want to, if your product sells well to a certain category of people, whether it's age, gender, whatever, and you want to understand more about those people, then this is an exercise to just understand more about those people. But you could just as easily say that this is a tool to understand all age groups, because if you don't do any targeting in your advertisement, then you're not going to be effective. So you definitely want to target all age groups. I'm a big proponent of the recent trend in not asking about salary history in job interviews anymore. So in theory, this practice was started a few years ago to try to avoid salary and gender discrimination for women, to level up what their salaries are going to be compared to men, because if you don't ask the question, what did you make before, then you can't be banded a certain way, and that has actually made a difference. But it's also really good for older workers who are coming back to the workplace, or have maybe had executive level jobs, but now just want to do some good work, and they've got great skills, but they always get banded as too much experience, too high level. And so if you don't ask them about previous salary, right, then again, you can't discriminate against them. So I like to say that I can use this tool to target people who might be coming back to the workplace that have great skills and either want to update their tool set, or just do some really great work and something they've done a lot of, but because of promotions and the way life goes, they've just been managed into managerial roles. And to be honest, managers generally are in their jobs because they were good at their old jobs, right? I say this about hiring managers a lot. Hiring managers are rarely either good at managing or hiring because we don't teach them that. They were just good at their old jobs. So I like to think that the empathy map can really help you target ads to multiple types of generational and gender specific, and you name it. An empathy map is good for it. But this is actually a tool that IBM uses. It's just design thinking. And years ago, I was invited to be an IBM futurist, and I got to go through a design thinking workshop with them at the Watson building, which is cool, to identify who your customer target is. And we know now that some of this retargeting and some of the email marketing practices are going to kind of go away, and people are going to have to resubscribe to anything you want to send them, which is valid and probably good. And I know that GDPR, has had the same sort of issues. But at some point, you do again want to identify who your targets are, and right, who's best for this type of role, who's most likely to do well in it, that sort of thing. And it also does help you identify a diverse workplace. And that's really what this targeting is for, is to identify your niches and your diversity.
Thank you so much for that. I really appreciate that. Those are the tough questions, so I like to save those until the end. So if anyone has any more questions, go ahead and send them through. Otherwise, I think we might want to get ready to wrap up. This was incredible. Craig, you are so incredibly clear and concise. And I've already started to check Otter out myself. I think I'm going to grab that one. It sounds fantastic. So,
it's so much fun.
We love having you on. Thank you so much. Your presentations are always so informative.
Thanks, Ashley. Appreciate it. Thanks, everybody, for joining.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Craig. And thank you, everyone, for being here. If you have any questions after we hang up, feel free to send them to ashley@recruitingdaily.com. And again, those recordings are coming your way. So have a wonderful day, everyone.
Bye.
Thanks, Craig. Bye.